Game 1 featured a wild finish to an incredible pitcher's duel. The nightcap may bring yet more intrigue. Welcome to Shirley Povich Field on Women in Sports Night as we see the Silver Spring-Takoma Thunderbolts take on your Bethesda Big Train in Game 2 of our doubleheader. Alongside Eliav Brooks-Rubin, I'm Jackson Corcoran. And Eliav, I mean, how much ink can you spill on that first game?
Oh, we could wax poetic for the entirety of this game. Just on the way the last game played out. I mean, you have to start at the end, right? Bases loaded, 2 outs. Tanner Kaler gets pulled in favor of Cole Ketchum. Pitch number 3 goes to the backstop, and a hesitation by the runner Bryce Curry allows Murphy to flip to Ketchum for out number 3. But just focusing on that ignores Kide Adatui's gem and the 2-run home run by Matthew Wesley.
I mean, an absolute thriller. For my money, the type of baseball fan I am, that's a more fun game than the 15-13 slugfest we had last night. But that one was incredible in its own right. We'll take a look at the new lineups for game number 2. Have a note, Jacob Hawk now catching for the Big Train. Logan Panett returns to the lineup after a very good Monday. Michael Deviney taking the mound for the Big Train. On the mound for the T-Bolts, it's Nikki Keene, Eliav.
And Nikki Keene was the T-Bolts closer all season long. I believe this is the first start that he is making. He's appeared in 5 games. He's 1-0 with 3 saves, all in relief. It really hasn't been stretched out at all, so we'll see how long he goes in this one, but certainly an interesting decision and kind of an unexpected one from the T-Bolts.
I mean, Keene has been uber effective, and the T-Bolts are running through doubleheaders much like the Big Train are, so some of their top starters like Demaraki and Treasure have been used and are unavailable today. But Keene, a heck of a pitcher in his own right. He picked up a save against the Big Train back on June the 21st in the only win the T-Bolts have over Bethesda this year.
I'm just a little interested. I think they have to. I think using Keene at some point in this game, regardless of score, makes sense. The bullpen is depleted, but using him to start off the game when he's so good out of the bullpen and he's so good in high leverage, I think it would have made more sense to see him come in, even if it's not at the end of a close game, maybe as the first reliever out in a situation where they need a couple of key outs. We'll see if it pays off for them.
The first pitch at 7:06 Eastern Time is fouled back into the grandstands, where a fan from Silver Spring bobbles the chance at a game-opening snag. Michael Deviney is making his second start of the year. He's really rounded into form and has been a pretty reliable pitcher for the Big Train.
Deviney, last time out, made his first start, took on the Aces, earned the win. Pitched 3 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned, and struck out 3. He's coming into this game with a 4.76 ERA. He's been sharper out of the bullpen than in his lone start, but brings some good stuff and should be able to give the Big Train 3 or 4 good innings of work tonight.
Best thing you can say about Deviney is he doesn't blow up, or at least hasn't yet. In his games where he's allowed runs, it's been 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs. Never had the big inning yet. The first at-bat to Vazo, the pitch is on the outer corner, but called a ball.
Can't make a better pitch than that if you're Davini. Just did not get the call right on the border with a tight slider.
Haven't talked about David Vazzo yet. He's hitting .359 on the season with 5 doubles and 2 triples. Big bat on this guy, but he grounds it over to his fellow shortstop John Martinez, who delivers to the chest of Emilio Gonzalez, ones away in the top of the first.
I really like that start from Davini. Gets ahead in the count early, misses with a couple of competitive pitches, maybe trying to get a swing, maybe trying to get a punch out, and then attacks on the 2-2 right in the zone, but not a super hittable pitch, and gets a nice easy bounce out.
Davini on 3 days rest after throwing 64 pitches on the 28th. His first pitch to Nolan Cutney is shot in the left field, but right there to make the catch is Josh Skowronski.
Yeah, a little bit of a hanging slider from Michael Davini. Just kind of a middle pitch, and got hit at 95. Just unfortunate for Cutney that he hit it right at Skowronski.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Gets some weak contact from a very good hitter, gives a hanging slider to a less dangerous bat. He crushes it, but it ends up right in the hands of a reliable left fielder, Skowronski. There's a beauty of a pitch to Steve Thomas for strike one. Thomas, one of the most productive T-Bolts in game one. That's why he's starting in game two, singled and walked, but flies out here to start his day. Michael Davini, very quick first inning, 1, 2, 3. Go the T-Bolts. The Bethesda Big Train will take their first swings when we return on the Big Train Baseball Network. To the bottom of the first, big, heavy, but thankfully so far sparse raindrops are falling here at Shirley Povich Field. There's some darkening cloud cover straight overhead, but as you can see, the sun is still shining and much of the sky is clear.
And some fat, lazy summer rain. Summer rain usually comes in 2 modes, fat and lazy, or hard and fast and with thunder and lightning to boot. So lucky that we don't have the second variety.
And if our radar is anything to be believed, then the fat, slow, lazy, cool summer rain will be all that we get today. Shouldn't be anything that delays our proceedings. It's 1-1 now to Alex Peltier. Peltier went hitless in game one, but reached twice on bases on balls. That's fouled away. Peltier playing in his 19th game, all of which have featured him in the leadoff spot. The Big Train are 14-4 when Peltier plays.
I'm going to pose something to you. And obviously, the Big Train are fantastic with Peltier in the leadoff spot, and his on base is at 480. But Alex Peltier, when leading off an inning, is only hitting 264. When he's batting with runners on, he's hitting 432. Meanwhile, Brennan Wright, who hits right behind Peltier, hits 500 as the leadoff man in an inning and just 286 with runners. And so I'm positing that this team might even be better if the two of them switch spots.
Bobbled at third base by Gill. The throw over to first, not in time. Alex Peltier reaches on a leadoff error, and that brings up Brennan Wright, who might have a chance to move him over. But that is a very interesting point you bring up, and something that I've kind of pondered about on my own time, seeing those leadoff stats from Peltier. But the conclusion I come to is, while I think that a lineup constructed with these two top hitters flipped would still be very, very good, it's all about getting Peltier the most times at the plate possible, and that's what the leadoff spot gives you.
Yeah, that's understandable. Not to mention Peltier brings that stereotypical leadoff speed, and the on base is 40 points higher than Wright, even though he's not necessarily better as the leadoff man in an inning. He's getting on base at a higher clip and hitting at a higher clip, and obviously does get the extra at bat in the rare situations where the two of them don't bat the same amount of times.
Brennan Wright, in game number 1, he went 1 for 3 with a walk, stole a base. He takes a ball low here.
Extended his on-base streak to 19, looking to make it a nice even 20 games played, 20 times reached.
The 1-1 to him, instead it's a pickoff over to first base. But I think about a guy like him and a guy like Peyton Steele. Despite them being very different hitters, they contribute in a similar way to the Big Train lineup in that they are consistent and they make the engine run. That's flown out to left field. It's pushing back Ruiz. He's twisting, turning, and making the catch.
Yeah, well, Brennan Wright does so by getting on, and Peyton Steele does so by driving guys in and scoring runs. No matter which one, he is always involved in run production. Steele scored a run after reaching on a hit by pitch, one of just 2 runs the Big Train scored in game 1. That extends his streak to 16 straight games with either a run scored or an RBI, and 37 total runs produced in that span. And
it's probably ill-advised to take these sort of numbers as gospel, but back in the 3-hole today where the Big Train are 5-0 when Peyton Steele is hitting third.
But more importantly, the Big Train are just 1-4 when Steele's out of the lineup completely. They started the season 1-3 before he arrived.
Kickoff over to first. Peltier needs an acrobatic slide to evade Braden Foster's tag. He's back in safely.
And in the lone day that Peyton Steele has gotten the day off since arriving to Bethesda, Big Train fell.
Foul back by Steele here. The Alabama product. He stands at 6'1", weighs in at 195 pounds, making his way up from Decatur, Alabama. The 0-2 swung on and missed by Peyton Steele. Strikeout, and we've been told that throughout the first doubleheader between these two teams, there was some good-natured jawing between Steele and the Thunderbolts bullpen out there and right, as baseball players are wont to do, and they're given a little grief for striking out here in the first.
Yeah, Steele, for as good as he's been with the bat, is still a high strikeout guy. That's his 17th of the season. And T-Bolts were letting him hear it after waving and missing at the keen fastball.
And it brings up Emilio Gonzalez. After his night off on Monday, had a quiet game 1, but returns to the cleanup spot. He lines it into right field. It's good and down fast, and it's going to drop in front of Steve Thomas. Gets the ball in to keep Peltier at second base, but the first hit of the day belongs to Emilio Gonzalez.
A good piece of hitting, just gets changeup left over the plate and does not make a mistake. Just lines it in to right. Good job by Thomas to crash hard, understanding off the bat he's not going to catch that ball, but comes hard, plays the hop perfectly, and does not allow Peltier to go first to third like he does so well.
Here's Matt Wesley. Went 2 for 3 and came an inch away from going 3 for 3, robbed by an incredible play by Caleb Sturdivant. But his second hit of the day was something that nobody could rob unless you stood about 30'6". A towering home run over the left field wall, his first of the year.
Yeah, and it was the only 2 runs that the Big Train scored the entirety of the game. Drove in Steele with that blast. So Matthew Wesley, if there's a hero that isn't Kide Adatui's 6 innings of scoreless ball, it's Matthew Wesley's 2-run shot.
Wesley with a chance to put the Big Train on the board here. Any runs in this inning will be unearned to Nicky Keene with the leadoff error and the 2 outs succeeding it.
That home run was Wesley's 9th extra base hit in his last 11 games, a span in which his OPS is over 1,000.
He takes outside here, but if you watch Keene deliver, he is a real up and down type guy. Comes straight over the top, which makes that fastball hard to square up. It's a very true 4-seamer, comes straight down the pipe. It has a lot of vertical ride. And that's swung on and missed by Wesley, gets under the fastball.
Yeah, 89 miles an hour at the low part of the zone. Feels like a pitch that the Big Train should feast on, with a pitch that has high ride. Usually that fastball plays more at the top of the zone, but that time just gets a swing and a miss.
The payoff to Wesley, guided into right field. That's down with the runners moving. Coming around third is Alex Peltier. The toss home from Thomas, not in time. And the Big Train lead 1-0 after Alex Peltier does a graceful somersault.
And make it 3 RBIs for Matthew Wesley and 3 runs scored for the Big Train today. Really good piece of hitting, 3-2 count. Pitch, the runners moving that pitch on the black on the outside corner, and Wesley just drives it the other way, and you're not cutting down Peltier on a play like that.
Looks like a splitter from Nicky Keene. A spin rate under 1,000, just kind of pops out of the hand and dives. So that's a really good job by Wesley, seeing that pitch deep and going the other way. Skaronski rakes one foul for strike 1 on a fastball.
Yeah, splitter's a pretty rare pitch to see at the college level. Usually a pitch that most guys who throw it don't develop until they reach the minor leagues. But Nicky Keene, if he has a slider that works, he can get a lot of outs with it.
There is a slider from Keene. It's up in the air, but fouled away by Skaronski. Fastball slider split, the arsenal of the man from Eastern Michigan. Pitch is high, and a delayed steal. Wesley gets caught in between the bags, trying to maybe get Gonzalez home. He's staying put at third base, never went, and Wesley is upset. He was trying to get in the rundown on purpose, get a free run, but Gonzalez was plastered to third. The Big Train do score 1. It's unearned on the RBI by Matt Wesley. They lead by 1 after 1 here on the Big Train Baseball Network. It took just 8 pitches for Michael Deviney to set down the side in order in the first. Now he faces numbers 4, 5, and 6 in the T-Bolts order. That's Driscoll, Foster, and Bagnola.
Yeah, worked a quick 1-2-3 inning through just 8 pitches in the first. Now gets challenged with a part of the lineup that packs a lot of punch.
Deviney wheels and comes home, gets a wave and a foul ball.
Jacob Hawk looked to the skies trying to find that foul ball. Unfortunately for him, it's right between his legs.
More terrestrially bound. It was a big hack from Driscoll. He pulled out, stepped fully in the bucket, as they say, and he swings and misses again at that very good changeup of Deviney's. He's got a real weapon in his arsenal against left-handed hitters.
That changeup might be Deviney's best pitch from what we've seen from him this year. He's has so much dive to it. It's able to just get a lot of hitters way out front. Does a good job of disguising it.
Throws another one. That one's just outside, but contrary to popular belief, by the numbers at least, most changeups don't drop. They actually have positive vertical movement, but Deviney's does genuinely drop. It drops about 3 inches, which is a lot for a changeup, and it gets a lot of ground balls. That's a fastball, though. Gets a ground ball towards Martinez, who makes a nifty play moving to his right and retires Aiden Driscoll to start the second.
John Martinez, a really underrated defender at shortstop. I feel like we don't talk a lot about how important he is to this defense. His range to the backhand especially, his ability to throw on the run has stolen a lot of outs for the Big Train that some of the other shortstops in this league just don't have the skills to make.
I compare him to, as a Cardinals fan, former Redbird shortstop Johnny Peralta, who was a guy who may not make the flashy play, may not stand out on some highlight reels, but you know he's always going to get something done for you. That's a chopper over towards Gonzalez, who grabs it and shovels over to Deviney. Another ground ball out for the lanky righty.
Yeah, underrated part of that play. Gonzalez came way off the bag to scoop that, but instead of flipping it as soon as it was in his glove, he waited until Deviney was right next to the bag before tossing. You toss that too early, as quickly as that ball got on him, Deviney has to slow down, grab it, and then find the base again, and that's a lot closer of a play than it ended up being.
Deviney working very quickly. That slider goes outside, but he has now thrown just 15 pitches to get through an inning and 2/3, facing Vance Bonjour.
It's exactly what you wanted to see. A guy comes in on short rest through 60-plus pitches just 3 days ago. You don't want big strikeout numbers. You want quick and easy outs, and that's what he's done thus far.
Bonjour picked up a hit yesterday, or in game 1, I should say. He now has knocks in 8 of the 11 games that he has played, and he takes a strike on the outer half, 90 miles an hour from Deviney.
Really good pitch. Kind of right where you want it for Deviney. In a 2-0 count, you have to find the zone, but you don't want to serve up an easy pitch to hit.
Swing and a miss. A nicely spotted fastball on the outer half gets Bonjour behind in the count, or I suppose even. Although the argument can be made that a count with even balls and strikes does favor the pitcher. But that's a story for another time. The 2-2 from Deviney. Swinging a liner into short left field, leaping try by Martinez. He got it! Nice play by Martinez. A nifty defensive inning for the Big Train shortstop, and Deviney has 6 up, 6 down. We go to the bottom of the second, but in between innings, we'll feature Big Train Director of Operations Raquel Ordonez on Women in Sports Night.
By the Bethesda Big Train. We're here with the Big Train's Director of Operations, Raquel Ordonez. Raquel, thank you for being with us today. What is your earliest memory as a sports fan?
As a sports fan, I recall watching the 2012 San Francisco Giants World Series with my parents for the first time. My earliest memory is always watching soccer with my dad.
Operations here. Tell us a little bit about what you do and what it means to be a woman in a position like yours.
Yeah, so here with the Big Train, I work with the interns specifically. I am the point of contact for all our vendors, our sponsors, our community hero groups. I work with all of our ticket coordination. I do basically everything that doesn't involve the field.
That was part one of a two-part interview with our excellent Director of Operations, Raquel Ordonez. It's Women in Sports Night here at Shirley Povich Field, and your reminder to watch women's sports. There's a lot of very high-quality athletics to be found, and if you let that go by, you're missing out.
Yeah, she had so much to say, and we had so much to ask her that could not fit it all into one advertisement section, one commercial break. You'll get to hear more from Raquel.
And hopefully the big train hears some more out of Josh Skaronski's bat, some more loud cracks like the ones that he's authored in the last few games. He takes strike 2 on the inside half, went 0 for 2 with a walk in game 1, but in the game before had probably the game of the year by any big train hitter. 2 two-run home runs and a single, including the go-ahead shot in the 10th inning.
Yeah, the only player for the big train to hit 2 home runs in a game. I think the only player in the Cal Ripken League to hit 2 home runs in a game.
You'd be correct.
There are just 2 players in the entire league with 3 home runs on the season.
One of them just struck out, unfortunately, but the other one is now on deck as John Martinez strides to the plate. Logan Panette had his lightning fast start, and he waits on deck, trying to add to his total to make it 4 home runs, retake the lead from his buddy Skaronski. John Martinez trying to get on the board with his first. Martinez takes upstairs, slugged 3 home runs at Florida Atlantic this year, playing in 57 games.
Yeah, we were talking about during the break that Martinez is performing well offensively, hitting a shade under 280, but it feels like there's another level. He swings such a smooth bat, and he sees pitches well. He's struck out just 10 times all season, that at some point he's going to start barreling the ball more than he already does, and we will get a whole new John Martinez.
I tend to agree with you, especially because now he's out of the 3-hole. I think a little pressure is off. We know he's a good hitter. I mean, you don't hit 280 in the American Conference without being a darn good hitter, especially doing as a redshirt freshman. That's exactly what Martinez did. He takes strike 2 here, but I couldn't agree with you more, Eliab. I think there's another level in this guy's bat.
Yeah, you also don't get recruited to Florida, where he redshirted the 2024 season, if you can't rake.
He takes ball 3 outside at 91 from Nicky Keene. Martinez hails from Orlando, Florida, and he takes a walk here, the first walk of the day issued by either pitcher.
Really patient at bat from Martinez, and that's kind of what he needs, is just continue to work walks to see pitches. Eventually those barrels will come.
Logan Panette entered Monday's game 0 for his last 11 and promptly went 2 for 6, driving in 4 runs and doubling twice. He watches the first pitch of his plate appearance go in the dirt from Nicky Keene. There's 1 away. Martinez is at first. Jacob Hawk is now in the on-deck circle. Pickoff over to first. It's too late for Martinez, but all throughout this doubleheader, Eliab, the T-Bolts have been active trying to keep big train runners planted.
Yeah, well, the big train aren't near the top of the league in stolen bases, sit just 5th, but they have a lot of speedy guys and a lot of guys who, if given the opportunity, will take off. Martinez, one of those. And T-Bolts careful not to allow that to happen. They allowed Peltier to steal a base and Brennan Wright to steal a base in game 1. Those were the only 2 for the big train.
Way outside to Panette. It's now 3-0. Nicky Keene, a guy who typically is filling up the zone more often than not. He's walked 3 guys in 8 2/3 innings. 4 now that he's put Martinez on.
I really like this at bat so far from Panette. Panette hasn't walked in his last 8 consecutive games.
Martinez takes off. That pitch is at the bottom of the zone for a strike. And the big train shortstop slides in safely with a base theft.
We'll see what happens here, but Panette walked 8 times in his first 9 games, which was really when he was super hot. Since then, he has had off and on games. He does have a 4-hit game and, like you said, a 2-double, 4 RBI game in that span, but the bat's cooled off, and I think he's just trying to do a little too much with the bat.
The 3-2 to Panette gets it off the end and to the screen and stays alive.
When he is staying patient and swinging at his pitches, that the first time he took the bat off his shoulder, and that was a pitch that he likes to hit. That's when he's at his best.
Stands in his straight up and down stance, eyes turned towards Nicky Keene. He swings and flies that one into short left field. Moving out is Vazo, and he makes the snag for out number 2.
Panette probably wants that back. That's a fastball middle in, and he just gets way under. If he's able to get the bat head out a little farther than he did, maybe starts to swing a little earlier, he's going to hit that ball a long ways.
Speaking of hitting baseballs a long way, Jacob Hawk did just that in Laurel Hill, Virginia, hitting his first home run of the year, and a mighty one at that.
Yeah, he is just 2 for his last 19. That includes the major 2-run home run and give the Big Train a 12-9 lead and a double.
But he is stalwart behind the plate, has 4 caught stealing on the year. He swings and pops that one up. It'll stay in play. Moving back is Bonjour. Shifting and making the catch on the back pedal is the Silver Spring catcher. The Big Train reach via a walk, but leave John Martinez on. We're through 2. We'll return to the second part of that Raquel Ordonez interview here on the Big Train Baseball Network.
Drew you to work for the Bethesda Big Train?
I
Because
mean-
if I understand correctly, it's your first year.
Yeah, it's my first year. I mean, I saw the Big Train's application or thing for the Director of Operations on Teamwork Online, and I never heard of a collegiate baseball team before. So I applied, talked with our head coach, Sal, and I think honestly it was Sal that drew me to the Big Train because he hyped up this organization so much, which is true. This organization is just like wonderful place to work in, to get a good experience for my first post-grad, post-masters like position, really. And then in being a woman in this position, I feel like more specifically in terms of how I feel as a representative to Latinas, to women, I'm an example to my siblings, my younger sister, any person who's coming in specifically tonight. I mean, I know there's a lot of girls that are coming in today that are going to be watching and seeing me run basically an operation outside the field, but we see examples with the ACE's assistant coach. She's an example for others that are in this position as well, that they could do what we're doing now, even in a minor position like what we do here with summer baseball, but it can be applied anywhere.
Caleb Sturdivant returns to the bat. He had a chance to play hero in game number 1, but had the bat taken out of his hands, ripped away by cruel fate, as Bryce Curry was thrown out trying to advance home on a wild pitch.
Now we'll continue to have to wait for his first hit. Stands in at 0 for 35 on the season. Get a chance against Davini.
Davini working smoothly, calmly, and quickly is way ahead of Sturdivant with back-to-back breaking balls. A light rain continues to fall here at Shirley Povich Field. In between innings, we likened it to standing under a willow tree when it's just rained. The rain has stopped, but you're still under the tree and the drops are slowly falling on you.
It's a pretty unique rain. You can pick out a lot of individual drops and watch their descent.
And watching that descent will be left fielder Josh Skaronski moving in and making the catch is the Big Train number 7 fielder. And there's one away in the third, 7 up, 7 down for Michael Davini.
Really good start for Davini. Still does not have a strikeout, but continuing to work quickly and efficiently That was just his 22nd pitch.
And among all that contact, as there's a first pitch strike, yet another one, 18 strikes to 5 balls for Divini. That one to Gabe Ruiz. Among those 7 balls in play, only one of them has been particularly well struck. It was the line drive by Vance Bonyor that ended last inning on a leaping catch by John Martinez. So we zoom in, you can see those big old drops falling on Michael Divini as he works the mound, still amidst the sunshine.
First time I think he's thrown back-to-back balls in the same at-bat.
Gabe Ruiz did not make an appearance in game number 1, hitting in the 8th hole in the nightcap. And check swing ground ball over to third base. Logan Panette fields it on the dirt, throws in time over to first. And another ground ball out for Michael Divini. That's the 4th one he's induced so far.
Yeah, 4 ground ball outs, 4 fly ball slash 3 fly ball outs and a line drive out. It's pretty good numbers. Getting it done every which way. You like to be able to do that and just get soft contact in the air and on the ground. It's pretty important to be able to have both in your arsenal, I think.
Tyson Gill trying to break the spell, trying to lay down a drag bunt, but fouls it away off the knee of Jacob Hawk.
Gill, a good hitter, 297 on the season, 771 OPS, has just 1 run batted in across 13 games, and 1 extra base hit. It was a double.
He's hit safely in his last 6 and in 9 of his last 10. He's down 0-2 in the count on 2 foul balls, that one via the changeup.
His one previous appearance against the Big Train, reached twice, went 1 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout.
Divini brings an 0-2. It's fouled away again, returns to the well of the change of pace, but Gill able to fight to stay alive. But Michael Divini is what you'd call a natural pronator. That means you can turn your arm such that your thumb is going away from your body. And that lends itself to good 2-seam fastballs and very good changeups like that one, although it's just a bit outside. One-two to Tyson Gill. Just a bit outside, tried to go backdoor with his slider, but well laid off by the T-Bolt's third baseman.
That ball probably didn't break quite as much as Divini would have liked. Started out trying to get it on the back door, but could not quite.
And Divini leaves 90 miles an hour outside. Count is full. Rare 3-ball count for Michael Divini today, if not his first.
This is his first. Good job by Gill to battle back from 0-2.
Divini wins in the end, blows it by the 9-hole hitter. 9 up, 9 down, a perfect start for Michael Divini. We're through 2.5 here at Shirley Povich Field. the top we go. Alex Peltier leading things off here in the bottom of the third, reached via an error in the first, came around to score on a Matt Wesley single. Nicky Keene returns to the hill for his third inning of work, one of his longest outings of the season. Line drive left field, base hit. Alex Peltier, first pitch swinging on a fastball up and in, and knocks it into left.
That's what he does so well. He is at his best when he's attacking early in counts. First pitch, second pitch, is lining balls through the infield, doesn't hit for a ton of pop, does have 6 extra base hits, 5 doubles and a triple, but most of those more because of his legs than his bat. But when he's attacking early and aggressive on pitches in the zone, he is pretty hard to get out.
Nicky Keene proffers a pickoff towards first base, and the chess match between Keene and Peltier resumes anew. A speedy center fielder takes a few steps off first and watches a fly ball off Brendan Wright's bat down the left field line. That's twisting. It is foul.
The ball looked like it had a chance to stay fair. Just tucked into that left field corner. Lands in the 3 feet of space between the foul line and the fence. So in play for Ruiz, but just not enough time to get over there, especially defending against a lefty.
Wright focusing on the other way in the early going today against the hard-throwing righty in Nicky Keene. He's flown out to left and sent that one down the left field line on the first pitch he saw. Keene picks off once again, but once again Peltier muddies the jersey in a safe dive back. And Peltier continues to be a launderer's nightmare over at first, diving back in on another pickoff attempt.
And I think he probably has to do his own laundry on a team like this, so his own worst nightmare.
Pitch just outside, and Peltier dives in head first for stolen base number 15 this year.
It is good for second in the league behind just Ryan Sung of the DC Grays, and he's been caught just twice.
And now he's in scoring position for Brennan Wright, but that's where an issue you brought up earlier in the broadcast rears its head. Wright 212 with RISP this year.
Yeah, it's been one area where he has struggled a little bit. Runners on in general, and it gets worse. 286 with runners, down to 212 with RISP, and just 143 with RISP and 2 outs. So for as good as Brendan Wright's been, he's struggled at driving guys in.
Still has totted up some RBI as that throw goes into center field. 6th time is not the charm, as that's a free base handed to Alex Peltier.
Yeah, Keene just tried to rush it. He thought almost had Peltier on the last pickoff, and so he tried to speed it up just a little bit to get Peltier on this one. Ends up letting the ball slip out of his hands, and Peltier with his speed, there's no doubt he was taken off.
Swing and a miss by Brennan Wright. Before that pitch, now that it's 2 strikes, I don't like it anymore, but I would have loved a squeeze bunt there.
Yeah, Wright so good with laying down bunts, and Peltier with his speed. I kind of agree.
But a 1-2 is fouled off by Brennan Wright, who is just one of the toughest guys to K up in this whole conference.
Yeah, with that being said, Brennan Wright does have 4 sac flies on the year. This is a prime sac fly situation. He's so good at just doing a job, having an approach and sticking to it. So even with 2 strikes, I feel pretty confident that Brendan Wright is going to have a productive at-bat here.
Nicky Keene goes from the stretch to the windup with Peltier at third. That's grounded through the right side and into right field. Brennan Wright singles to drive in Alex Peltier, and the Big Train lead by 2.
Well, that's certainly a productive at-bat. I was thinking more along the lines of a sac fly or a ground out to the second baseman that scores a run. Instead, gets it right by Nolan Cutney, and he's aboard for the 20th straight game.
And Nicky Keene having a bit of a tougher go starting the game than he typically does as a shutdown back-end reliever.
Yeah, it's just an unfamiliar spot for Keene. Come on, forced to face this lineup multiple times, which he hasn't really had to do this season. Top of the lineup has gotten to him to start this inning. A couple of singles, stolen base, And Alex Peltier creating an E1 by just staying in the head of Keene.
Indeed, this is the first time he's had a third up, which is what some in the baseball circles call exiting the dugout to start an inning. His max has been 2.0 innings this year. Still hasn't gotten to 2.1 in this one, but he's had his third up.
And it's the first time that he's faced more than 8 batters in a game. So it is the first time that he's faced guys for the second time through where they're able to see his stuff. They've already seen his stuff. Now they get the chance to react to it and make adjustments. A little bit of a change of pace for Keene, and so far not working out to his liking.
Second time the guys have seen him, they are 2 for 2, singles by Peltier and Wright.
He got the better of Steele in at-bat number 1, a high fastball for a strikeout, but already behind 2-0.
The Alabamian sees the 2-0 and pops it up. Out, 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 says this Silver Spring dugout. And they're correct. It slams on in the concourse and bounces away towards the Catalyst hot dog truck.
Well, a hot dog is a sandwich, Jackson, according to Catalyst Hot Dogs.
I tend to agree. That's a debate that has raged for millennia now, but it is a sandwich. If it's not a sandwich, then a hoagie's not a sandwich. And what is a hoagie if not a sandwich? 2-1. Check swing by Steele, grounded towards second base. Puts the tag on Brennan Wright, the throw over to first. The flip not in time. So they retire the lead runner, but Peyton Steele able to reach, beats the wrap, and brings up Emilio Gonzalez.
Yeah, well, shout out Brennan Wright, who tried to evade the tag and ends up getting tagged, but it pulled Cutney off his line. He had to reach kind of behind himself to make the tag and do a little spin, and that's what allows Peyton Steele to climb aboard. So even though he gets tagged out, Brennan Wright saves Peyton Steele, and now just like that, Steele's in scoring position.
Another throwing error by Nicky Keene on the pickoff. And that's 3 miscues on the day by the T-Bolts already, 2 of them in the last 3 batters.
Yeah, both throwing errors. Keene just pressing a little bit here in this third inning, trying to steal outs that he hasn't gotten with pickoffs, and it's resulted in 2 free bases.
And Peyton is determined not to let him steal any outs from him. And the first pitch to Gonzalez is a ball. And
I'm going to ignore that.
That was some dirty side-eye from my co-commentator, Eliot Brooks-Rubin. The 1-0 Gonzalez, low and away.
Gonna pretend you didn't just say that and move on. Gonzalez lined a single into right field his first time up. Now Keene kind of dancing around.
Keene has gotten down in counts to both Steele and Gonzalez. Throws that splitter, I believe, and gets a swing and a miss. Gonzalez, with runners in scoring position, hitting near 345 with 16 RBI. Tools that one foul, and the count evens at 2 apiece.
Gonzalez's 10-game hit streak came to an end in game number 1 with 3 flyouts. He was hitting .471 in that 10-game span with 6 doubles and a homer. And he's starting a new hit streak in game number 2, already has that single.
Swinging a line drive into center field, coming in Sturdivant, and he'll have to play it on a hop. Rounding third and heading for home, it's Peyton Steele, the relay, the tag. He's safe. The ball bounced out of the glove. The umpire called him out, but then the ball rolled teasingly towards the Thunderbolts dugout, and he had to reverse his decision. Steele scores on a Gonzalez single, 3-0 Big Train.
And that's the 3rd time this season where a throw has beaten Peyton Steele to the plate, and his slide has jarred it loose. Peyton Steele, a big guy in right field, 6'1", 200 pounds, and he slides aggressively and has done a good job at legally and not dirtily knocking the ball out and creating essentially what are free runs.
And that slide kicked up so much dust, I can see it out in front of our window. Genuinely, it's drifting around out there after the slide from Steele, but picks up a run in the process, and now Matt Wesley takes ball 1 low.
Well, Steele making up for that because he got a pretty poor read on the line drive. Took off late and had a bad round of third, kind of stuttered his step, which is the reason the ball beat him to the plate, even with it getting cut off by the first baseman, Foster. And if Steele gets a good beat off that line drive, he scores easily. Never easy or hard, Peyton Steele continues that streak. He has scored or been driven in a run in every game.
Line drive right center, moving over Sturdivant. He leaps, he can't get it. That's going to go to the wall. Extra bases once again for Matt Wesley. Motoring around second is Emilio Gonzalez. He receives the no-go sign at third base. 2 runners in scoring position after a Matt Wesley double.
Now Wesley got into that, and a rare Caleb Sturdivant misplay. I'm not sure that he gets to that either way, but he started in and then kind of looped his route and ran straight back. And this will be it for Nicky Keene. Matthew Wesley tying up Peyton Steele in the doubles category, claiming the most extra base hits in the league. And this for a guy who's not even an everyday starter. So Wesley is scorching hot and knocks Nicky Keene out of this game.
Tough day at the office for one of the league's best closers. We'll see a new Thunderbolts pitcher when we return on the Big Train Baseball Network. Two and 1/3 innings pitched, 6 hits allowed by Nicky Keene, who has easily his worst outing this season and was replaced by his rhyming partner Henry Steen.
Steen, tall right-hander, 6'4". He's worked in 4 games out of the pen. Pretty sharp 2.84 ERA. Has allowed just 7 hits and struck out 9 to 3 walks in that span.
The 102 Josh Skoronsky is on the outer half for a strike, but the Silver Spring-Takoma Thunderbolts have struggled to hit in today's doubleheader. They're throwing some of their best arms at the problem, but the Big Train bats are hotting up in game 2.
Yeah, Big Train already 2 in this spot and 2 more in scoring position for the ever-dangerous Josh Skoronsky, who, out of all the hot bats in this lineup, may be the very hottest.
He is hitting .270 with runners in scoring position this year.
infield on the cut, which means how hard Skaronski hits the ball, there's just that much more opportunity to hit one through the infield.
He chokes up with 2 strikes, grounds it through the right side. That'll score 1. And stopping at third base is Matt Wesley, but an RBI knock for Josh Skaronski greets Henry Steen to this ball game.
Yeah, like I said, that's a bouncer that may or may not get through with the infield back, but because of the second and third and 1-out situation with the infield all on the cut, and there's just not a lot of time to react to that ball, which came off the bat at 78 miles an hour, but found the perfect hole between first and second base.
John Martinez now. He walked and stole a base last inning. And he takes the first pitch just below the hands for a ball.
And the T-Bolts here, if they don't sharpen up on the mound and on defense soon, are in danger of falling into a big hole for an offense that does not produce a lot of runs against the best team in the league.
Martinez waves at that 1-0 pitch.
4 is already a big enough deficit in a 7-inning game, but they let this get to 5 or 6 with just 4 innings to play. It could be an early night.
Breaking ball upstairs. As a team, the T-Bolts score 5 runs a game, almost on the nose.
You can probably cut a little bit off that, one of those runs for the 2 innings we aren't playing, 8th and 9th. You're anticipating, based on their team averages, they're going to score about 4. They still have not reached base against Divini. If he continues to work, that number could drop even more, and the big train already at 4 runs here.
You have to go back to the last time the T-Bolts were at Shirley Povich Field to find the second time they scored over 5 runs in a game. A fielder's choice at second base retires Josh Skaronski, but John Martinez easily at first base and allows Matt Wesley to scamper on home.
And just good productive hitting from Martinez. Doesn't need to do too much to get the run home, just has to run hard down the line. That ball on the backhand of Vazo.
Speaking of scampering home, I have a funny story about that. We'll get to that after this first pitch from Panette. It's fouled away. But at Carleton College, where I attend, I call and write for various sports teams. One of them is the softball team. I wrote a recap for one of their home games that featured one of their outfielders scampering home. I'm friendly with her, saw her out and about the other day, the day after the game, and she said, "Hey, did you write that story?" I was like, "Yeah, I did." It's like, "I don't scamper anywhere." And I said, "All right, next time you'll bolt home." She said, "That's acceptable." The 1-1 to Logan Panette, swinging a line drive near the light pole manning the batting cages here at Shirley Povich Field.
For what it's worth, I think Wesley probably did scamper. He was not running with the most intensity. That ball up the middle and the infield back.
Panette popped up his first time at the plate and now faces a 2-strike count. He watches a breaking ball inside half, and it's called strike 3. Missed by a couple inches inside, but Steen gets the call. The big train do pick up 4 runs in the third. Eliav Brooks Rubin will tell you about the middle innings of this ball game when we return on the Big Train Baseball Network.
Michael Davini untouched through 3. He's back out for his 4th. We saw Kide Atatui work 3 2/3 perfectly before a single broke up his day, although he continued after that to work 6 scoreless with just 2 hits allowed. Davini 2 outs away from matching Atatui's feat, 3 from exceeding it. And he will have the top of the lineup, Vaso, Cutney, and Thomas before he can do so.
And when I compare the first 3 innings of both of these pitchers, is it wrong to say I'm almost more impressed by Davini's compared to Atatui's? I mean, he's been very, very good. He's just been spotting up.
Gets more soft contact on the ground to Martinez. His throw is high, but Gonzalez remains on the bag for out number 1. Nolan Cutney, the second man to bat. He squared one up to left his first time up. And was handled with ease by Skaronski. Davini spots up on the outside corner. I agree. I mean, for as good as Atatui was, and he was fantastic, and has the exceeding number of strikeouts to Davini's just 1 so far. Davini has just gotten so much soft contact. He's been in and around the zone. He's thrown 26 strikes to just 11 balls. And just has been super sharp, ahead in the count 1-2 yet again.
He just has the ball on a string today. All 3 of his primary pitches, the fastball, the slider, the change, they're going where he wants in the right counts. He's mixing and like he's going fastball change up to lefties, fastball slider to righties, and that's all he really needs.
1-2 to Cutney. Bounces in the dirt. A rare uncompetitive miss, although even that pitch, I don't mind the slider, which he just dropped in for a strike, just goes a little lower in the zone.
And that's what you've seen so infrequently from Davini this start. The uncompetitive miss. Everything's been right around. That's what's been getting him his soft contact.
Count even to Cutney. And just misses with the fastball low.
It's not a bad spot at all. And Hawk, very good framer at the bottom of the zone. A guy who beats the ball to the spot and tugs it upward. Just gets the thumb down there and thumbs it up.
Count full. Cutney looking to be the first T-ball to reach, and he'll see another pitch before that can happen.
Gives a big exaggerated nod after he steps out of the box like, oh yeah, I've got the next one. But based on that last swing, I don't know if that's true. Yeah. Maybe it's all about what you tell yourself.
Was sorted on a 2-seam fastball. See if Davini, who's thrown back-to-back fastballs, plays into the slider. Payoff pitch. Misses outside, so the perfect game is no more. First runner aboard via a walk. Still no hits allowed just yet by Davini. Steve Thomas is a dangerous guy to face.
They just got to keep finding the way here. Filling up the zone, that's the one way you'll let the T-Bolts back into this game is if you give them some free passes.
Davini has been all in the zone. He throws strike 1. Over 67% of his pitches now have gone for strikes, 29 of 43. 0-1 pitch. Right off the handle for Thomas, who's now all the way in the hole at 0-2.
Before that walk to Cutney, he had thrown just 10 balls through 3 innings.
Is an unbelievable stat. Oh, 2. Davini, deep breath. Now comes home to Thomas, who pops it up foul territory. And Gonzalez at the netting cannot come up with the ball. It ends up in the stands.
A valiant effort, loses the cap in the process, but Hawk able to let him know in the end that that ball, that chase for the ball was fruitless.
So Thomas breathes another life. Still down in the count 0-2 though. Davini comes home, buries a fastball.
If there's one thing that I'd like to see, and it is just the one thing from Davini, it's those 2-strike fastballs have often been below the zone. And you want it on the outer half or up, which he hasn't been able to locate.
1-2 goes slider. Misses in the dirt again. Davini way ahead of a couple of hitters. First Cutney, now Thomas. Walked Cutney after leading the count 1-2. Thomas has worked from 0-2 back to even. Counts 2-2. We're in the 4th inning. The T-Bolts have just one base runner in this game. Davini comes home. Swing and a miss. Down goes Steve Thomas. Second strikeout of the game for Michael Davini.
And that's the key. The last 2 fastballs he threw missed the zone by essentially identical distances, but one's down, one's yanked, and Thomas can see all the way that's going down, it's going down, it's going down. But then he goes above the zone at the eyes, and that's a pitch that, you know, from age 6 to 44 is hard to lay off for any hitter, and Thomas waves through.
Davini's first offering to Aiden Driscoll bounces. Good block by Jacob Hawk, who's had a couple of those in this inning. Driscoll, the designated hitter today, does backstopping duties at the University of Maryland, like the man standing or squatting right next to him, Jacob Hawk. Driscoll appeared in 4 games at UMD. Had a hit and a walk, scored twice. Waves at strike 1.
There's the changeup again. I mean, Aiden Driscoll has seen that pitch a couple times and offered the same swing at it. That's how you know it's a good pitch. It's something he hasn't been able to adjust to yet. If you can show the same look twice and get the same swing, it's a plus pitch.
Goes the changeup that time. Driscoll not fooled. 2-1's the count. Nolan Cutney leads off first. 2-away here in the 4th of a 7-inning game. Davini home. In the zone, strike 2.
And it's just the trust that he has in that pitch. A lot of guys don't trust their changeup, even if it's got, you know, good movement numbers. But Davini trusts it in any count. He trusts it when Craig Lopez or his catcher calls it, and you can tell he's throwing it with conviction.
2-2. Davini home, misses outside. Attempted slider, more of a backup slider than anything else.
There's a couple times where he's tried to get that backdoor breaking ball, but hasn't been able to snap it off. Against a lefty, even for a long levered guy like Davini, he can't. A backup slider, or a backdoor slider, I should say, is a very hard thing to throw.
Count full, 2 outs. Cutney's moving, and it won't matter. Ball 4 to Driscoll.
Yeah, those last 2 just lost it a little arm side. He's up to 53 pitches now, and even for a guy who's been sailing, hasn't thrown too many high-effort, high-stress pitches. He's on 3 days rest, and he might be ailing just a little bit.
Yeah, pitch count, I would imagine he'll be capped around 65, maybe 70 if the pitching staff or the coaching staff feels really good about the work he's put in between games. But regardless, if this isn't his last inning, it's definitely his second to last. He will get Braden Foster. Luckily for Davini, the 4-run spot in the bottom of the 3rd gives him a little less stress on the arm, pitching with a 5-run lead. Foster, though, can do damage in a hurry, but lofts this one into right center field. It'll be Peltier sitting under it for out number 3. We're halfway home from Shirley Povich Field. Big Train commanding a 5-0 lead. And we will take a look at Nolan Shanuel, our Big Train in the Big segment.
For today's episode of Big Train in the Bigs, we look at Nolan Shanuel of the Los Angeles Angels. He played for the Big Train in 2021 out of Florida Atlantic University. You know, Sal Colangelo loves his FAU Owls. In 2021, he hit over 300, also smashed 3 home runs with an OPS over 1,000. Let's see what he's up to in LA. Nolan has been averaging a clean 1 hit per game, 81 hits in 81 team games played. He has 16 doubles, 1 triple, 7 home runs to go with 32 RBIs, has 3 stolen bases, a solid average as well, 273, a 364 on base, a 404 slugging, and a very serviceable 768 OPS. Good luck to him and the Anaheim Angels on the rest of their 2025 season.
Jacob Hawk, and then the top of the lineup. Big Train picked up 5 hits in the third. Michael Davini faced traffic for the first time all day, but worked out of it cleanly in the fourth. Big Train with a win would slide to 16-6 and command a 3.5 game lead on the Northern Division.
That is, unless the only Crop Dusters are able to capture their second game, which looks like they may well do against the Gaithersburg Giants. They will stay 3 games back.
Oh, so they would have a 3.5 game lead on the T-Bolts, but the Crop Dusters would match the Big Train's 2-0 should the Big Train win. Crop Dusters at the moment lead 9-1. Hawk swings and misses at the 2-0. Crop Dusters did not walk off. They beat Gaithersburg in a 10-9 win where they plated a couple of 8th inning runs.
The poor Giants find new and interesting ways to lose day to day.
Giants sit at 4-19 on the season. One of those wins did come against the Big Train all the way back on June the 7th. Jacob Hawk is even in the count with Henry Steen at 2-2. Steen comes home and misses very high.
The DC Grays and Alexandria Aces were scheduled for a doubleheader. Those games are not updated on the Calric League site, but there's also been no notice of cancellation there. Same goes for the Southern Maryland Senators and Metro SoCo Braves.
Well, both the Grays home field and the Braves are in Virginia as Hawk works a leadoff walk. So it's possible they got hit with some rain and just haven't updated the website with a cancellation. Maybe they're still hoping they can get a game in. We're at 8:15, both of the second half, or both the South County versus Southern Maryland game scheduled for 7, and the second half of the Alexandria DC doubleheader scheduled for 7. So definitely late on starting if they are indeed going to play, but not sure what's going on. It also could just be a website malfunction. That does happen from time to time. At any rate, the scores we have, it's only Gaithersburg only, and the one right in front of your screen. The Big Train lead 5-0. Alex Peltier has scored 2 runs. He's got a single and reached on an E5. He's stolen a base and advanced 1 more off a Nicky Keene throwing error. He's behind in the count, 0-2. Henry Steen, the Washington and Lee product, just finished his first season where he made 6 appearances, worked 5 2/3 innings. Taking on the ECU Pirate Alex Peltier, who lines one into left field, pushing Ruiz back, but he makes the grab.
Good swing by Peltier. Got on it. It's one that'll get him a fist bump or 2 in the dugout. Guys love to say that. When a guy gets into a ball a little bit, but it settles into the outfielder's glove, they just say, hey, good swing. Even though, I mean, that ball is always going to be caught, but it feels good to have your buddy say, good swing sometimes.
Yeah, didn't hit that one poorly. Got it near the warning track. A guy in Alex Peltier who does not pack a ton of punch. Definitely had a good swing on it, just unfortunate about where it landed. Brendan Wright bats. He's got an RBI single. He drove in Peltier after Peltier went first to third while Wright was in the batter's box. Steen in the dirt. Counts even at 1. One now, right squares to bunt. It's a beauty down the third baseline. Picked up by Gill, and he has no throw. A bunt single for Brennan Wright. There are 2 aboard with just 1 out for Peyton Steele.
There are some appreciative fans down in the Shirley Povich stands. Could hear some cries of beautiful and oh, nice from the folks watching this game. A pretty full house here at Shirley Povich Field, but the plaudits are deserved for Brennan Wright. Got a breaking ball up and away and got the bat out and deadened it perfectly down the third base line, bunting for another hit.
Yeah, second time today he's done so. And his second hit of the ball game. Peyton Steele to the dish. He grounded into a fielder's choice in which Brennan Wright was tagged out. Came around to score on the Emilio Gonzalez hit. 0-1 from Steen. Slow breaking ball, just 71 miles an hour. Fouled away for strike 2.
I think one of the impressive things to me is that Brennan Wright moving from JUCO baseball. Well, JUCO baseball, there are some absolutely fantastic players at that level. There's good baseball at the JUCO level, but moving to playing against exclusively JUCO guys to playing a lot of Division I players, like he's going to play next year at South Alabama, and he hasn't lost a step. He's playing the same baseball that he did at Meridian Community College.
At Meridian, he was easily their best player, led his team in average, slugging, OPS, doubles, triples, stolen bases, RBIs, and struck out the fewest among any qualified hitter. Really doing it all, everything but the home run power. Peyton Steele, or excuse me, Brennan Wright has it in his bag. A pickoff, got Hawk leaning the wrong way, but Steen was a little delayed. And he slides back in safely.
That was a good initial slow move, the inside move, but then just didn't get the throw off quick enough, and Cutney didn't break to the bag quick enough because they had Hawk pretty dead to rights.
Maybe a little surprised that Hawk was moving that way. Swing and a miss. Peyton Steele goes down on strikes. Out number 2 in the inning, but Emilio Gonzalez in his 2-for-2 day stand in the way of Henry Steen escaping a jam.
It's a very rare sight for Peyton Steele, or indeed any big train hitter, just getting beat on a fastball in the zone. That was a challenge pitch from Henry Steen, and Steen beats Steele on this occasion.
Steele's second strikeout of the game, the 3rd for the big train as a team. They only struck out 2 times in game number 1. For as little offensive production as they put together, it was tied for their lowest scoring game of the season. The strikeouts were not an issue. Steen ahead on Gonzalez, 0-1. Comes home. Breaking ball left near the eyes of Emilio Gonzalez, which he stares into Bonyor's glove for ball 1.
An interesting stat for a team that relies so much on its offense. Big Train are still 2-2 when they score 4 runs or fewer.
And both those wins coming against the T-Bolts, a 3-1 victory on June the 6th and a 2-1 victory in game 1. Big Train pitchers have had extended success against the T-Bolts, a 7-5 loss, the only time that Silver Spring-Takoma has gotten the better of Bethesda. 2-1, out of the zone, and Steen sits 1 pitch away from loading the bases.
Every game that these two squads have played against each other has been within 3 runs. It's been tight, entertaining baseball between these teams. Bethesda looking to buck that trend in a good way.
3-1 pitch, out of the zone, ball 4. And that brings the dangerous Matthew Wesley to the plate. Wesley today has 5 at-bats. He's 4 for 5. He has a home run, 3 RBI, a double, and his only out was on a Caleb Sturdivant diving attempt that drops in for a hit against probably any other center fielder in this league.
Since game 2 of Sunday, he is an incredible 10 for 14 with 4 doubles and a home run.
Runners are all in position here. Every base occupied, and Matthew Wesley has been up to the task this season with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. He is 4 for 6. Going to make it 5 for 7 here and blow this game wide open. 1-0 pitch in the dirt. Skips away from Bonyor, but not far enough for Hawk to take off. We saw what happened when a runner hesitates on third in game number 1. Bryce Curry, the final out, trying to break to home.
Yeah, what a break for the big train there. I mean, that's a season changer if Murphy doesn't get that to Cole Ketchum in time, but they did. They won game 1, and they've carried that momentum into game 2.
2-0 pitch in the zone. Wesley got a good swing at it, but fouled it away.
And that's something that Wesley will want back, and Henry Steen sighing relief out there on the mound. A fastball in the zone at 84 to a guy hitting the fastball right now better than anybody in the circuit, and he just fouls it off instead of driving it.
2-1. Steen home to Wesley and misses up for ball 3.
But now there's nowhere to put him, and a big evil grin is probably broken out on Matthew Wesley's face. Maybe he's keeping it inside because this is a chance for him to do some serious damage.
Steen's offering is lined into right field. That will hang up for Thomas, and out number 3. Henry Steen escapes with a 0 on the board. He strands the bases loaded. Big Train work into the 5th with a 5-0 lead. Back out for a 5th inning of work. He has not allowed a hit through 4. 2 walks in the 4th. The only traffic that the T-Bolts have managed against the tall, lanky right-hander will be Vance Bonyor, Caleb Sturdivant, and Gabe Ruiz set to hit in this inning. Vinny's first pitch to Bonyor is bounced off of the catcher's foot. Michael DeVinny, far and away his best outing this season. He has allowed at least 2 earned runs in 3 of his 4 previous appearances. The lone scoreless outing was just 1 1/3. He's worked 4 so far, and ahead of Bonyor, 0-2 to start the 5th.
This is a guy that was just so dominant in high school. Like so many of these guys, a elite prospect heading into his Division I baseball days.
Line drive off the handle. Easy work for Emilio Gonzalez for out number 1.
Just sawing a guy off. That's a true backup slider One that is righty on righty, but still kind of gets in on the hands of Bonjour and saws him off towards Gonzalez.
Backup slider is, not the most vicious pitch you can throw, but it definitely takes hitters by surprise from time to time. That time, Bonjour expecting that pitch to break over the outer half. Instead, catches the handle. Line drive up the middle. Martinez to a slide. Throw to first. Not in time. Caleb Sturdivant does it. He's got his first hit. He was 0 for 36. He's now 1 for 37. He is off the schneid, and the bench is going wild for the T-Bolts.
My goodness, nearly one of the plays of the season from John Martinez. What an effort from the rangy shortstop, but Sturdivant has plenty of speed, beats it out, and is finally on the board in 2025.
Not only does that break his 0 for 36 streak, it ends the no-hit bid for Davini. So we thought there might be a chance. Sturdivant came to bat, bases loaded, 2 outs. We thought this would be a pretty special spot for your first hit, a walk-off, potential walk-off hit. Instead, it's special in a different way. Breaks up a no-hit bid that was into the 5th inning. And finally, the average climbs above 0. Davini home. Ground ball slowly to Davini. Only one play, it's at first. Gabe Ruiz set down. There's maybe ruled a foul ball off the foot. Runners are headed back. Ruiz towards the plate, Sturdivant towards first. Foul ball and the count 0-2.
I think even Gabe Ruiz might say that that was a fair ball. As he went back towards home plate, he gave a little shrug to his dugout and a little smirk, but he gives another life. But 0-2 against a tough customer today in Michael Davini.
Ruiz ground out to third, was his first and only plate appearance of the day. 0-2 pitch goes down swinging, so instead of moving Sturdivant over to second, Sturdivant stays plastered to first, and Gabe Ruiz is the third strikeout victim, I should say, of Michael Davini.
And that's one where Michael Davini shrugs his shoulders, even if it was a bad call, and says, well, thanks. You get to add to the strikeout numbers with a very nice 2-strike pitch.
2 away. Ground ball right side, and it's through for a base hit. Sturdivant goes station to station. Floodgates have opened for the T-Bolts bats with 2 hits in the inning. We'll see if the top of the lineup and David Vazzo can do anything about it.
Vazzo, he's having a good season for himself amidst a T-Bolts lineup that has had a dearth of offense throughout the year. Vazzo has been the lone light many times.
Vazzo, a couple of bounce outs to the shortstop Martinez, his counterpart. 2 on. T-Bolts need to spark a rally quickly. First pitch out of the zone for ball 1.
The only game, though, that Vazzo has been held hitless in was against the Big Train. That was game 2 of the doubleheader back on the 21st.
That was actually a game the T-Bolts won, the lone win they have in this series. A Big Train win in this game would secure the season series. The 2 teams face each other 6 times. Big Train have already picked up 3 wins. T-Bolts would need a rally here and a win the next time these 2 teams face, scheduled for July 19th. 1-1 from Davini. Changeup misses out of the zone for ball 2.
Pull up at 9:27. I need a large blizzard now.
Should the T-Bolts come back to win, it would end a Big Train win streak at 4. 2-1's the count. Pitch just misses low and away.
And you got to think the Big Train bullpen will be getting active here with Davini gliding deeper and deeper into the pitch count.
Hard to tell from our angle, like always, whether anyone's throwing. It doesn't look like it. There's some guys goofing around out there. 3-1 pitch, hacked foul.
And when you do see guys moving, it's hard to tell whether they're, say, throwing a weighted ball to the wall or throwing a hacky sack at one of their teammates.
Yeah, it looks like They're tossing a football out there, so no action at the moment. Two guys I can see are Drew Bellis and James Gladden, both of whom I would assume are inactive for today. 3-2 pitch, Deviney rocks and fires, and hits Vazo for ball 4. Well, not sure if that hit him or not. I believe it did.
I think it did.
Yeah, one way or another, Vazo's aboard. The bases, just like that, have been filled. Scored a walk, so not a hit by pitch.
Yeah, one way or the other, he was going to end up on, and now Deviney has to get Cutney here, although there's a visit to the mound about to ensue.
Pitching coach Craig Lopez now to have a brief chat with Michael Deviney and the catcher Jacob Hawk. With the Big Train still leading by 5, it's not necessarily a super high leverage situation, but you do not want to let that first run cross and give the T-Bolts a little mojo.
This is like dangling the ladder right now, and you don't want to let the T-Bolts grab the rung. Even if it's a long way up still, they'll have a foothold if they can push a couple across in this inning.
We've seen the Big Train struggle to contain leads. They nearly did it in Game 1. They led 2-0 going to the 7th. Ended 2-1 with the bases loaded. They blew a 6-2 lead in the 6th inning of Saturday's game against Alexandria, their last loss. Ball 1, uncompetitive. Nolan Cutney is the man who broke up the perfect game bid. He walked with 1 out in the 4th. Now bats with 2 outs in the 5th in a much higher pressure spot. Bases are loaded. Ground ball up the middle. It's through for a base hit. 1 run will score. Chasing him home is Gill. He'll score as well. Sturdivant and Gill cross the plate. A 2 RBI single for Nolan Cutney. And it's 5-2.
It's a game where, you know, you want to give Deviney his flowers, let him work this 5th inning, but it's something you might be left to rue a bit, because at the end of inning number 4, even as good as he'd been, he looked like he was losing his rope a little bit. And now he's let 2 runs cross.
So action finally picking up in the bullpen, although doesn't look super intense. Deviney is at 71 pitches, which I predicted his absolute max was 70 or the batter thereof. Continues to work in the 5th. Changeup beautifully located for strike 1 to Steve Thomas, who has flown out and struck out. Still 2 aboard, and the lead now chopped to just 3. Ground ball to first base. Gonzalez waits back on the second bounce. He'll take it himself for out number 3. T-Bolts get 2 back, but strand 2 more. Michael Deviney through 5. Big Train come to bat looking to add on a couple insurance runs. When we come back on the Big Train Baseball Network. Michael Presky, the third man to take the mound for the T-Bolts. He has worked 3 times this season, has earned 2 wins. He's allowed 11 hits, 3 walks, 5 runs to cross the plate, and 4 strikeouts. His ERA sits at 8.43, but he has been the beneficiary of some timely offense to have a 2-0 record thus far.
He's listed as a left-handed pitcher on the Silver Spring roster, but after some digging, we believe that due to some administrative error, obviously throwing from the right side.
Yeah, listed as bats right, throws left. Definitely very easy to switch the 2 of those things, especially on a pitcher who largely you don't care what hand they bat with. Strike 1 to Josh Skoronsky, who's 1 for 2 with an RBI single in this game.
You'd love to be able to get your get back in this inning and re-extend that lead out towards 5 again.
Skoronsky's first crack at it is a ground ball to second, hit sharply, but fielded by Cutney for out number 1.
Just a skosh under 100 miles an hour off the bat of Skoronsky, but 2 steps to the backhand of Cutney, who makes the stab.
John Martinez, who grounded out to short his last time up to score Matthew Wesley, comes to the plate. He's also walked and stolen a bag. You said it, Jackson. This lead doesn't feel entirely safe. About the high leverage guy coming, the top high leverage arm in the bullpen is Owen Stewart. He's unavailable. Felt like the second guy was Tanner Kaler. He went in game 1, struggled a little bit. He's unavailable. We're not sure on the status of James Gladden, who still has not allowed a hit this season. He has allowed 1 earned run, but he threw 12 pitches last night in a save. So unclear whether he's available. So the high leverage arms in the bullpen are pretty sparse. We may rely on some Michael Madigan or Michael Cass innings. Those are 2 guys who haven't thrown in a while, but Big Train would certainly like to turn this into a non-save situation, extend the lead back to 4, 5, or 6, and make it a little easier on whoever is set to come out of the bullpen. 3-1 to Martinez, slashed foul.
And Presky, not the hardest throwing guy, but he comes from an extremely low arm slot for a guy that doesn't fully drop down. And that leads to a big sweeping slider and a heavy fastball. One of those that just comes in on your hands and sort of outplays its velocity when it comes to getting soft contact.
That kind of snuck up on Martinez, who all he could do was to foul it away. Now the payoff popped up on the infield, charging from third, and now from first is Foster to make the grab. Gill came crashing in, but Braden Foster called him off.
And some pitchers are absolutely determined to make their stand, that their athletes stay in there, catch a pop fly near their mound. Michael Presky was having none of it. He said, boys, you guys take care of this one. I'm going to head over to the third baseline and watch Braden make a catch.
Well, Braden does make the catch, and that brings up Logan Panett. Panett, 0 for 2, was upset last time when he was punched out looking to end the big third inning for the Big Train. Had some words with the umpire about the call. Now he's even in the count 1-1.
Thought the Monday game for Panett might have been the re-breakout day, but it was kind of a false start because in this one he hasn't looked on his game.
Yeah, just a pop-up on the infield and a strikeout. Did not appear in game 1. The lone 2 guys we haven't seen today among the Big Train bats, Parker Corbin, who we believe is out with some sort of injury, not dressed in uniform, as Panett hits one hard, slicing into the T-Bolts bullpen, and J.J. Hand, who has yet to make a start this season and has really only appeared in blowouts, with the exception being 7 innings against Southern Maryland. Everyone else in the lineup, Panett, one of 4 guys, along with Ott and the catchers Hawk and Murphy, to not play in both games. It's been a struggle getting started here in game number 2. 2-2 pitch goes high. Logan Panett, who, like I mentioned all the way back in his first plate appearance, has not walked in 8 consecutive games. Has his second full count of the evening. This one hits him, so still technically not a walk, but that extends his league-leading 8th hit by pitch of the season.
I was talking earlier about how Josh Skoronsky working a walk, a tough walk back in game 1 was a sign that he was going good. In that same vein, not walking for such a long time can be a sign that you're not going as good. It means you're hunting a little bit. It means you're fishing and you're pressing to get a ball in play rather than taking what comes to you. But there, Panett essentially earns a walk. Won't go in the book as one, but worked to count full, then takes one off the elbow.
Jacob Hawk bats for the 3rd time, trying to flip the lineup over. Rips one really hard, but into the netting. Ball came off the bat at 1-2.
And he hopped on that. It's a fastball up and in, right where Presky wanted to go with it, but Hawk saw it all the way, almost too eager, and yanked it foul, but I wouldn't go back to that spot if I were Presky.
Presky goes right over the outside part of the plate, just misses high.
It goes with a similar sort of idea, but Hawk lays it off. It's just a bit high. And you got to think a slider's coming.
1-1 pitch. Presky does throw the slider, more of the backup variety, and it's ball 2.
Yeah, frustrated with himself on that pitch. That's one that he wanted to get across the plate, drop in, because that pitch is really coming from behind the eyes of right-handed hitters.
2-1 goes back to the fastball, misses in. After Hawk ripped one for strike 1 foul, Presky has danced around the zone and in danger of walking Hawk for the 2nd time this game, but gets a swing and a miss, a beautiful changeup.
The pitch went in the same spot as the first fastball that Hawk hammered, but this time I think Hawk might have been looking a bit more slider, knowing that he likes to throw it in those sort of counts.
Full count, Panett takes off. Ball 4 runs high. And the lineup flips over to the ever-dangerous Alex Peltier.
That's something that just can't happen if you're Michael Presky. Trying to keep a game close. You get 2 quick outs, 2 at batter, that's where you're looking pretty sharp, and then you walk the 8 and 9 hitters and bring up a guy hitting 400.
Alex Peltier, on top of hitting 400, is at 455 with runners in scoring position and over 500 in that situation with 2 outs. He bats with runners on 1st and 2nd, squares to bunt, tries to lay one down for a hit, but sends it back towards the netting instead.
It's a pure element of surprise tactic from Peltier. Again, a guy hitting 400, you expect him to be swinging away, trying to drive in the speedy Panett from 2nd, who'd almost certainly score on a single. So with Gill playing pretty square, if not back of the bag, tried to lay one down the line, just couldn't connect.
See whether he goes back to it. Won't have the element of surprise this time and keeps the bat on his shoulder before waving at strike 2.
That's one of those things where if it works, look like a genius and the bases are loaded for Brennan Wright, but now it puts you in a hole and you kind of had to go after that slider. Not a bad pitch below the zone, but now you're in a deep hole.
0-2 from Presky. Kicking the deal, Alex Peltier takes ball 1 right near the dome. And Logan Panett looked like he wanted to take off, had a really good jump, and then was almost surprised by how good of a jump he had, and he stays put at 2nd.
I think he thought Presky was going to find him out. He felt like a kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar, but in fact, Mom was still looking away. He could have scarpered on a 3rd, but went back.
1-2. Peltier takes strike 3 on the outside corner. I don't think the umpire knew it was strike 3. He didn't do a punch-out symbol until realizing the T-Bolts run off the field. We're through 5. Big Train still lead, but they strand 2, and the lead is now just 3 Jackson Corcoran will take over for the 6th and 7th. We will have a new pitcher on the mound to close this game out for the Big Train.
One Michael replaces another. Davini exits and Madigan enters, making his 4th appearance of the year. He's been solid, if not spectacular. But he starts off facing a lefty in Aiden Driscoll, and then a switch hitter in Braden Foster. He has a bit of a platoon advantage, does Michael Madigan, as he tries to hold on to a 3-run Big Train lead.
Madigan this season has appeared in 3 games, has allowed runs in all of them, but 2 of the 6 total runs he's allowed are unearned.
And his first pitch is a firm fastball in the outer half to Driscoll for strike 1.
So the ERA is at 6.0. Has walked 7 hitters in 6 innings. That's been the main bugaboo.
It's a nice pitch by Madigan, but does not get the benefit of the doubt from our home plate umpire. Madigan has excelled in the early going, retired the first batter in each of his 3 appearances. That one slugged into the right center gap, and that's going to break the streak. Extra bases for Aiden Driscoll. He's heading towards second base with a stand-up double to lead off the 6th.
First extra base hit of the entire day, 2 games for the T-Bolts. And it's just like that, we are in another pressure situation with the tying run on deck and still 2 innings to play.
And Sal Colangelo and staff, I'm sure, really want Madigan to finish this game off. He's got a 3-run lead to try and keep it at a 3-game lead in the North Division. But obviously too early to say that he's really getting in trouble as he gets a check swing strike from Foster here.
And Madigan has not pitched in about a week. So pretty fresh, in fact, exactly a week since he's pitched.
Another ugly swing from Foster, who's moved over to the right side. The switchy is 0 for 2, batting in the left-handed batter's box against Michael Davini. Maybe he'll hope for a change of pace on the other side.
But my thing is just like, do I do all 11 hours in one day?
That one's in there. Strike 3 to Michael Madigan. First K of the day.
And a huge punch out, give up a leadoff double. You don't want to let the issue compound. Now you get the strikeout and bring up towards the bottom of the order with Vance Bonyor and Caleb Sturdivant.
Bonyor came into the day one of the T-Bolt's stronger hitters. He's gone 1 for 5 as afternoon has stretched into evening. We've entered the gloaming here at Shirley Povich Field.
1 for 5, but the T-Bolts as a team have just 7 hits sprinkled across 12 and make that 13 innings, including this one. So it's been just a struggle to put bat to ball for everyone in the lineup.
The 1-1, swinging a soft fly ball in the right center field. Moving over and making the grab is Peyton Steele and unleashes that hose of an arm of his to keep Driscoll firmly at second base.
Here comes Sturdivant. See if he can build on that infield single with perhaps a single that reaches the outfield grass and drives a run in. Does have 1 RBI on the season already, and now has a hit to go with it. But still looking for his first RBI hit.
He takes a breaking ball inside from Sturdivant. Or Sturdivant takes a breaking ball inside from Madigan. It's been a long day at the ballpark, Eliav.
It has. Even with game 1 moving by pretty quickly, this one has slowed down just a hair. Regardless of how quickly they're playing, you and I have been here for 6.5 hours at this point.
But it'll be a happy end if Madigan can complete this ball game safely, as that's tossed foul down the right field line.
You know, Sturdivant would really like to see a hit touch the outfield grass. He did pick up that first hit finally, and to break up a no-hit bid, no less. Didn't really get to admire it. He had to bust it out of the box and beat out an infield single. You know he'd love to see one just no doubt line drive that he just gets to watch and see a run score because of it.
Madigan's curveball is low. It's a pretty vertical curve that will play well against righties as well as lefties. Still has 2 strikes on the T-Bolt center fielder. Fouled in and out of the mitt of Jacob Hawk, and another pitch coming.
And notably for Sturdivant, he came into the day 0 for 33. 19 of those 33 outs were strikeouts. Today, he is 1 for 4 and has not struck out. He's reached twice, single and a walk. But his bat to ball is improving, and that I talked about is why he was probably at the top of the lineup for game number 1.
Puts bat to ball here, but it heads into the parking lot.
Didn't pay off for him then, but sitting at the 7th spot in this lineup, you would expect a guy who has been hitting as poorly as Sturdivant to be plastered to the 9 hole, or the 8, depending on how the coach decides to build his lineup. But Sturdivant higher up in both.
Fastball at the neck of Sturdivant, and the count is full.
Remember a few weeks ago when you were showing us like some video and your friend said you were real and what the username was?
Real. 3-2 by Madigan is inside, and Sturdivant reaches for the 3rd time in the doubleheader, 2nd time in as many plate appearances, and now Gabe Ruiz.
That brings the tying run to the plate. Gabe Ruiz has himself a home run this season. He is hitting just 163 entering the day and an 0 for 2 day today, but got a double, has a homer, and can certainly pop a couple of runs in.
Hometown kid from Silver Spring, Maryland, takes strike 1 from Madigan.
Ruiz, the UMBC retriever, played in 20 games as a freshman, but did not appear as a sophomore.
Madigan, a tumbling curveball taken for a strike by Ruiz.
Ruiz, one of those 7 returners I mentioned last season, hit just 238, struck out in nearly half his at-bats. The average is down this year, but the bat to ball at least is up.
Fouled away by Ruiz. Michael Madigan, the 3rd of his name, hails from Syracuse, New York, and looking to conclude this 6th inning without any further incident. Another foul back by Ruiz.
Ruiz has gotten pretty good bits of both of Madigan's last 2 pitches, fouling him straight back and pretty hard off the bat, which is a sign you know a guy's seeing it well. If I'm Madigan, I think about wasting a pitch here, either up in the zone or in the dirt, see if you can get a chase.
The 0-2, same spot, same result, another foul back.
Now I'm definitely not putting a pitch in the zone. Ahead 0-2, nobody at third at risk of scoring if you bounce one. And with Ruiz all over that fastball up, I'm throwing a curveball down, seeing if I can get a fishing trip out of Ruiz.
Another 0-2 from Madigan to Ruiz. Flunks him, runs inside and hits him in the belt. And the bases are loaded for Tyson Gill.
Yeah, well, he tried to go to that curveball and just pulled it way too hard and runs all the way inside to the right-handed batter's box. And just like that, this game is one swing away from being flipped on its head, the lead changing completely.
Gill, a sophomore out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
A little surprised they're not pinch hitting for him with a right-handed bat.
And Jacob Hawk heads on out to chat things over with his pitcher Madigan.
Like we were talking about in game number 1, it rarely feels easy, the Big Train playing a close game. They've had a couple of blowout wins, but when their bats are limited, even when they win, the pitching staff likes to make it difficult late. Michael Davini has finally gotten 2 in the 5th inning, gave up 2, and now Michael Madigan has loaded the bases. For how easy or difficult it is, the Big Train do still sit at 15-6, tops in the league, and just 4 outs away from closing out a 5th consecutive victory.
Madigan is set at the letters, delivers. Big breaking ball, catches Gill looking for strike 1.
Great pitch from Madigan, reestablishing that curveball after beating Ruiz with the last one.
That one's inside and briefly muffed by Hawk, but gets back to it, and it's 1-1.
That looked like a changeup from Madigan.
Breathes out, delivers, and it's fouled up and off the body of Gill.
I'm sorry with it.
Round of support from the Big Train faithful, cheering on Madigan to an escape act. Ball 2, smothered by Hawk.
Yeah, back-to-back curveballs. In fact, 3 in a row. I misidentified the changeup. So he's living on the curveball even after hitting Ruiz. Needs one here. We'll see if he goes back to it. Maybe tries the fastball upstairs.
Curveball away, count is full. Nowhere to put Tyson Gill. And the dangerous David Vazzo stands waiting for his chance.
Biggest pitch of the ball game for the Big Train. They have to stymie the Tide.
Madigan stares home, gets his sign. The payoff. Ball 4 outside. That's going to force in a run, and it's now a 2-run game.
Tough from Madigan, who was ahead in that count 0-2, or 1-2, and just was not able to finish off the 9-hitter. We talked about how the Big Train, or how teams just cannot walk the 8 and 9. It was in the top half, or in the bottom half of the last inning, Michael Presky, who hit Panette and walked Hawk.
A little nubber over to first base. Going down as Gonzalez, and he taps the bag to end the inning. Michael Madigan walks the tightrope, stumbles only once, allowing a run on a hit, but he strands 3 runners. As we go into the break, we'll send you to a message about the upcoming All-Star game here at Shirley Povich Field.
Make sure to join us here on July 9th for the Caribbean League All-Star Game. The league's best players will be on display in a star-studded affair.
Tim Kirkchin will be in attendance, so make sure to get your tickets before they sell out.
It'll be the North Division versus the South Division, and you can get your tickets at bigtrain.org/tickets. That's bigtrain.org/tickets.
Into the ball game, a 6'4" rookie from Rochester, well, from University of Rochester, from Bethesda, Maryland, attended nearby Walter Johnson High School. Shout out to fellow WJ alum Danavillo, another native of Bethesda, and a teammate of mine at Carleton College.
A lot of WJs. I know a couple there myself, a couple people. Less relevant to our baseball broadcast.
Well, also relevant is Ellie Hilton, and I believe Maddie Kelberg.
Yes.
Part of our Big Train crew here.
Yeah, go check out social media tomorrow. Uploading a special Women in Sports reel. They're both featured in, as well as all of our other amazing women interns on the VEX side of things. And Caroline on the Kirkchin side of things as well.
And if you missed our interview between Quincy and Raquel Ordonez, our Director of Operations here at the Big Train, you can go back and watch that on social media as well. 3 balls, no strikes to Brennan Wright from the young right-hander. The 6th arm to be used by the T-Bolts catches the corner with that pitch, and that was a 3-0 gift to the right-hander. That was about 4 inches outside.
Yeah, Brennan Wright and the entire Big Train dugout not super happy with that call. See if Watts can make something of that gift.
A swing and a miss. That pitch is above the zone, and Wright is now 3-2. That 3-0 call changes the complexity of this at-bat. Now Wright has to work for it once again. And he's struck out. And the 3-0 gift ends up gifting Aiden Watts a K to start off his inning.
Yeah, Brennan Wright, though, swung it the last 2 pitches, both out of the zone. So even after the umpire gives Watts a gift, Brennan Wright gives away 2 of his own for strikes 2 and 3.
Here is Peyton Steele, He struck out twice and grounded out and fouls one right back in the direction of our press box. But thankfully the netting in the way.
Steele lost a 4-game hit streak in game 1. He reached on a hit by pitch and scored in this game, continuing his streak of scoring or driving one in every game. Reached on a fielder's choice, came around to score.
An errant Watts breaking ball goes head hunting, but Steele ducks around it. One ball, one strike, one out. Pitch to the Alabama product is fouled back once again.
He's done a lot of that today. Still hasn't squared up a ball like we're so used to seeing him do. Just a lot of fouls back into the net, a little under it. When he gets a little under that, it's been strike 3.
Flied into short right center field, moving in is Sturdivant. He's called off by the right fielder, Steve Thomas. 2 up, 2 down in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, quick 2 for Aiden Watts, who looked really shaky those first 3 pitches. Gets the gift that turns around his whole inning. Suddenly, instead of runner on first, he battles back, strikes out right, and now 2 out and nobody on. Which is the best spot if you're about to take on Emilio Gonzalez.
Went 0 for 3 in game 1 and is 2 for 2 with a walk in game 2. So you go 0 for in your first game and then bring up your average on the day to 400 and your OBP to 500.
That's what happens. You cannot quiet Emilio Gonzalez for long. About 3 at-bats is all that you're usually going to get, and he has come back with a vengeance. 2 singles, including an RBI and a run scored on top of that walk.
That last game ended a Cal Ripken League season-long 10-game hitting streak. He started the new one in this ball game. Maybe this one will last for the rest of the season. With Emilio at the plate, you never know. The 1-1 to him. Inside, he shuffles back of the box and avoids a painful plunking. He was headed right for the spur of the ankle. It would not have been a pleasant rest of the evening for Emilio if he let that one graze him. Gonzalez powers one back into the netting, and that's been a pretty common happenstance this inning. Is the foul back. Guys are under Watts' fastball.
And he's done a good job of locating it right above the top of the zone. Big Train hitters are expanding the zone to go after that fastball and have not had success doing so.
Another well-located fastball is this time battled away, you could say. It's all about perspective. When you swing at that pitch 2-1 and go back, it's a miss. But when you do it 2-2, it's a great piece of hitting. I think that's a good lesson about life.
It's all about what you're looking at.
And Gonzalez is looking at a 2-2, and he's looking all the way. Called strike 3. Aiden Watts sets down the 3 he faces in order, striking out 2 of them. And now the Bethesda Big Train will look to sweep this doubleheader when the 7th ensues. back to the hill marches James Gladden for his second save opportunity in as many nights. The Maryland Terrapin diced through the Metro SoCo lineup back on Monday, I should say, in as many games, not as many nights. Well, it's not even that. And the amount of, in as many days where games have been played. That sort of ruins the
we had
the intro.
game
But
in between.
Gladden put up a clean inning against the Braves on Monday, looking to do the same thing here. He gets a swing and a miss on the first pitch to Nolan Cutney.
James Gladden on the season has worked in 5 games. He's pitched 8 innings. He has yet to allow a hit. 3 runs have crossed the plate on his watch. Only one of them was earned, and it was because of 4 walks.
The first game he pitched in was against Olney, and he couldn't find the zone. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, really. And then after that, he's gotten better and better and better. In his last few outings, he's looked pretty near dominant. And that is a gross slider. Buckles the knees of Cutney, and he's got 2 strikes on it.
The last time out, like you said on Monday, worked a clean, perfect inning, struck out 2, got the save only through 12 pitches, which is why he's available on just 1 day's rest.
The 1-2 to Cutney. Swing and a miss. James Gladden gets his first of 3 outs, and 2 more to go against the middle of the T-Bolts lineup.
And he just eviscerated Nolan Cutney. Off speed, off speed, off speed, all on the outside part of the plate. Looking or swinging, Nolan Cutney never had a chance.
And Gladden right now is pitching with vim, vigor, and verve. He just looks so confident up there on the mound. He's just up there slinging. First pitch to Steve Thomas. Just a bit inside.
Thomas whirling out of the way, but James Gladden nearly spun that pitch into the zone, missed by about an inch. Not even inside, just high.
That was on the black of the plate, but upstairs. Correct call by our home plate umpire. That one is way low.
Overthrowing a little bit on the fastball.
Fastball that was up to 93 miles an hour on Monday and just touched 91 there. That slider clips the edge of Thomas's raiment and sends Aiden Driscoll to the plate with a runner on.
Back-to-back sliders that James Gladden just could not get a handle on. First one ended up bending back near the zone, but he didn't break it enough to get a strike that time. Leaves it all the way out and in to Steve Thomas, and now the tying run will be at the plate.
Driscoll has one of the 2 T-Bolts extra base hits on the twin bill. It was a double last inning.
I mentioned that that was the first extra base hit. The other one escaped my mind because the runner never stopped on base. It was the Brady Grimes home run.
Driscoll with his slightly open stance in the left-handed batter's box. Thomas stands still at first base, and that's outside. A sharp first batter from Gladden has given way to a more scattershot second 2. It's now 5 straight pitches out of the zone from Gladden, looking to narrow himself back in against Aiden Driscoll, today's T-Bolts designated hitter. That he does. And when James Gladden gets in trouble, he goes to his rescue pitch, and that is the slider.
That locates that one perfectly low and away at the knees. First time he's really snapped that slider into the zone. But the last 4 times he's thrown it.
Swinging a drive down the right field line. That is curling. It is going to be foul. Ruled foul by our first base umpire. And that ball looked like it caught white. Oh, my goodness.
Really hard to tell so far away. There's no cameras that can zoom in there, but that would have been trouble. At least 2 bases, possibly 3. And the Big Train are very lucky. That would have been the first hit Gladden allowed all year. Instead, just strike 2.
And Driscoll mopes his way back home. I mean, he slugged that ball, and Again, we don't have as good of an angle as the first base umpire, but that looked fair from where we were sitting. That could be a massive break for Bethesda.
We pointed out monumental swing in game one nearly was the diving stop by Kim. This could be an even bigger turning point, as tying run would have been in scoring position. Winning run would have been, the leading run at least, would have been at the plate. Instead, James Gladden 1 pitch away from his second out.
Pitch. He got him! 2 Ks in the inning, and Driscoll goes down window shopping after nearly picking up an extra base hit.
All comes down to Braden Foster, who has not homered this season. Homered twice with the T-Bolts last year. Needs to launch one over the fence to tie this game, at least climb aboard to extend it.
Gladden's first pitch to the switch hitter now from the left side. Grounds it up the middle towards John Martinez. Fields on the hop, throws on the run, and you can blow the whistle and sound the horn. That's a pair of Big Train winners here at Shirley Povich Field. The Silver Spring-Takoma Thunderbolts come to town trying to wrest back control of the North Division, and the Bethesda Big Train just solidify it. What a pair of games. Thrillers here at Shirley Povich Field, but the Big Train gutted out 2 times in a row and now are the undisputed rulers of the North Division.
A 3-game lead. T-Bolts drop to third. They fall behind the crop dusters. Meanwhile, the Big Train looks stronger than ever. That's 5 wins in a row since their loss to Alexandria Saturday night. It was not always pretty. The bats were as quiet as they've been all season, but the pitching was sharp in both games. This one featured 4 no-hit innings from Michael Davini, 4 1/3. Game number 1 featured 3 2/3 perfect innings from Kide Atatui, and a couple of high-leverage relief appearances and saves for guys not named Owen Stewart. It's really the highlight, I think, of the day. Outside of, solidifying Davini as a starter and Atatui moving to second in the league in ERA, I think picking up 2 saves in 2 opportunities without Owen Stewart available is the reason the Big Train were able to walk out of here with 2 wins.
Final lines on today's game. The Silver Spring-Takoma Thunderbolts picked up 3 runs on 4 hits, committed 3 errors, and left 8 men on base. While your Bethesda Big Train scored 5, picked up 7 hits, a clean game, no errors. They also left 8 on base, but they win by 2. Thanks to Michael Davini, today's winning pitcher, his record is now 2-0. Nicky Keene, making his first start, falls to 1-1, absorbing the loss. James Gladden, his second save in as many outings with a dominant 9th. And the Bethesda Big Train move to 16-6 on the year and stay 3 games clear of second place in the North. That'll do it for us here. An entertaining doubleheader at Shirley Povich Field. The next time we will be with you on the Big Train Baseball Network will be very soon. It's tomorrow. We'll be at Olney against the Crop Dusters at 7 p.m. Quincy and Eliab will be on that call. It'll be radio style in the road game. But for now, thank you so much for watching this incredible twin bill, and we'll see you next time.
This